One of the biggest challenges in watercolor is knowing when not to paint. When I was a beginner, I covered every part of the paper and later reach out for white gouache or acrylic white to bring the highlight back. There is nothing wrong with that, but if you can learn to preserve the white of the paper from the beginning, your paintings will look fresh and more luminous. For the first painting, I wet the background, then I use gamboge yellow with cobalt blue to create a warm green. Then I gradually add more cobalt blue to vary the values and to create more depth. In few areas, I'm using pure cobalt blue. And finally, I add a touch of Payne's gray near the top to increase the contrast. As I paint around the flower, I'm being especially careful to preserve the white of the paper. That's the main focus of this exercise. Once the background is complete, I tilt the sketchbook to check whether any excess pigment has collected along the masking tape. If there is any, I remove it with a clean damp brush. Then I let the background to dry completely. While that's drying, let's paint the coconut. I begin with Indian yellow, sketching a simple oval shape for the coconut flesh. Then I paint a wide U shape around it to form the shell and fill it with the same color. Next, I use burnt umber to fill in the shell. While the paint is still damp, I use the back of my brush to scratch through the paint, creating the rough texture of the coconut husk. Now I'm adding Payne's gray for the shadow area at the bottom of the shell. I mix Payne's gray and cobalt blue, and using a lighter value of that mix, I paint the soft shadow inside the coconut. You can see the shadow is darkest on the left side and gradually becomes lighter as it moves towards the right. Using the same mix of cobalt blue and Payne's gray, I paint the cast shadow beneath the coconut. Next, I switch to a fine liner brush and use burnt umber to paint a few delicate fibers around the shell. Next, using a light mix of Payne's gray and cobalt blue, I paint the few natural ridges along the freshly cut coconut. Our coconut painting is done, and we move to our first painting where the background is completely dry. As this is a white rose flower, it is enough to define the shadows of the petals. For that, I use a mix of Payne's gray with cobalt blue, and I'm using very light value of this mix to paint the shadow under the petals. If the shadows are too dark, the flower will lose its delicate white appearance. For the petals closest to the center, I add a touch of gamboge yellow. This warm hint of color adds a little more depth to the flower. Once everything is completely dry, I use Indian yellow to paint the pollen in the center. Next, I paint the stem and leaves using a mix of gamboge yellow and cobalt blue. I keep them simple without adding too much detail, as they are only meant to support the flower, not to compete with it. Now the flower painting is complete. Now let's move on to paint the waterfall. I begin by painting the rocks using burnt umber. To create the darker side of the rocks, I mix burnt umber with Payne's gray. Since this is a quick study, I keep the rocks simple without adding too much detail. For the rock on the right, I added a light value of burnt umber on the top and a darker mix of burnt umber and Payne's gray along the side. I have assumed that light is coming from the left. Next, I mix gamboge yellow with cobalt blue to create a natural green for the trees in the background. Then I gradually increase the amount of cobalt blue in the mix to create a darker green and use it to add variation and depth to the background. Then I mix a little Payne's gray into this green to create an even darker value and apply this where the trees meet the rocks, helping to separate the background from the foreground. Using the Payne's gray pigment which is mixed with green, I use that to paint some few loose leaf shapes here and there to such as foliage without painting every detail. Using a light value of burnt umber, I suggest the flow of the waterfall. With just few simple downward strokes, the untouched white paper transform into flowing water. Then I paint a small rock near the top of the waterfall using burnt umber and add Payne's gray to create the darker shadow areas. Next, I use the gamboge yellow and cobalt blue mix to add the reflection of the trees in the water, and also I'm adding cerulean blue to suggest the reflection of the sky in the water. I also carry few strokes beneath the rocks to tie all the elements together. A few loose strokes create the gentle movement of the water, while the untouched white paper represents the waterfall as it flows into the stream. And that's our three watercolor studies. I hope you enjoyed practicing how to preserve the white of the paper with three simple subjects. The more you practice leaving those highlights untouched, the more natural it will become in your watercolor paintings. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more watercolor content. See you in my next video. Until then, take care and bye-bye from Prema.